Here are two listings from eBay. One of these cards is fake. Do you know which one? If not, you've come to the right place. In this video, I'm going into detail on everything I look for when I'm buying a card online to avoid getting scammed. And if you're watching this video because you've got a card in question currently, pull up the card and use this as a step-by-step guide to ensure the card's real before you buy it. And lastly, make sure you stick around until the end of the video because we're going to revisit these two cards at the end of the video to see if you know which one's real or fake after using all the tips we go through. Let's get right to it. So you've got a card in mind, you've got the eBay profile pulled up on it. The first thing that I always do is I go to tcgplayer.com and I pull up the exact same card because I know for a fact that that image of that card is authentic. So I use it as a reference point when I'm going through all these checks we're about to go through. The first thing you need to look for is spelling. Now this sounds pretty crazy, but I'll tell you, there are so many fake cards I've come across that I've realized were fake because they've spelled things wrong. Look through every single word on the whole card from top to bottom. I've come across cards that have had the wrong Pokemon's name, the name has been spelled wrong, or random words have been missing in the attack details. So using the TCG card that you have pulled up, make sure that you're going through side by side and making sure all the words are the exact same and they're spelled correctly. Along with this, make sure that the card's in the right language. There have been times when I've been so close to bidding on eBay and then I've looked and realized that the card's actually in German or Italian. It looks really similar because the Pokemon's name's the same, but then the description and the attack is in a different language. So make sure you're double checking that. And just a bonus tip to go along with this, something that I look for on every single card that is a telltale it's fake is if there's no accent above the E in the word Pokemon. Every single time Pokemon is on a card, it will have the accent, and if it doesn't, it's fake because the Pokemon company will never spell that wrong. All right, so tip number 2, going along with spelling, is the font and size of words on the card. Again, side by side with the TCG card that you have pulled up, there are 4 red flags that I always look for. First of all, make sure that it's the same font and the font is the same size. Next, look at the HP value. Make sure that it is the right HP value. A lot of times there's fakes that are missing a number or the number's different for whatever reason because they couldn't do their homework. Another one are the attack values. Really just check all the numerical values in the card and make sure they're the same because for some reason fakes always get the numbers mixed up. And then finally, make sure the alignment of all the words and numbers are the same. I have found so many fakes just because the words have been in slightly different spots. The margins have been a little different. Even the Pokemon's name has been in a different spot. So always check side by side with the TCG. Make sure that the card's words are in the exact same spots. The only variation that you may find is in the borders, which is okay. So once I've checked off all the text, the next thing I look at are the actual images on the card. There are 5 things that I look for that are telltale that a card is fake. Number 1, a lot of fakes will have the wrong energy or the energy will be in the wrong size for the type of Pokemon, but also for the energies needed for attacks and strength and weakness. So make sure you're checking all the energy symbols on the card and make sure that they're exactly the same as the TCG reference you're using. Along with that, the retreat cost value is oftentimes wrong on fakes for some reason. So always check the retreat cost value. I've come across a lot of fakes that have the wrong set symbol or set number. So make sure you're checking that with your TCG reference as well. And finally, make sure you're checking the size on all the symbols and logos in the card because again, there's no variation in real ones. So if there's any variation in the one you're looking at, telltale that it's fake. And a bonus on this one, there are a lot of fakes, especially in the older ones like first edition Charizards, where the evolution stage is a little wacky, or another one is the first edition stamp may be wacky. So definitely make sure you're looking at those if you're buying a Wizards of the Coast first edition. For the 4th tip, we have to look at the back of the card. And just a PSA, if you're buying a card, make sure they include a picture of the back, not only to make sure that it's real, but to also make sure there's no damage on the back. For the back, the color's the main giveaway. So many fakes have wrong coloring in the blues and yellows in the back. So what I recommend doing is grabbing a Pokemon card you have with you, or you can look it up online and make sure that you're looking at a real Pokemon back and just look at the color comparisons. A lot of times on the fakes, the border's darker, the yellow in Pokemon is darker, or the whole card itself is like a little lighter hue. Next, for the more expensive cards, we look at holo pattern. The holo pattern for Pokemon cards has definitely evolved since Wizards of the Coast, and it's a lot harder to replicate now, but there are some telltales from classic ones and new ones that give away fakes. A lot of fakes for new cards, there's like this glossy rainbow instead of the real textured holo. And for older Pokemon cards, unless it's like a crazy good fake, what I see so often is the holo pattern is stamped instead of reactive. So when it's moving in light, the actual pattern itself isn't changing where the sparkles are, which on the real ones, the light reflects on the sparkles and changes it. All right, I just wanted to show you guys what I meant by this with a fake card that I found online. So what you're gonna see is you're gonna see this little sparkle right here, the two that are together. On a real card, that would change depending on how the light's hitting it. But as you see on this one, it's there regardless of which angle. These are two different angles, and you still see that very vividly. That's how you know it's fake. Tip number 6, the Pokemon image itself. If your card has passed all the tips up to this point, there is a 99% chance that it's real. But one other thing you can look at is the actual card. When you look at it as a whole, fakes are often pixelated because their image is blown up or it's copied and it just doesn't look quite right. Real Pokemon cards use high quality images, so there's no pixelation, there's no blurriness anywhere on the card. Make sure you're looking specifically at the edge transitions on the card and the border of the actual Pokemon itself and see if there's any pixelation or blurriness. All right, now before we show those original 2 Charizards, see if you can identify which one is fake now, I just want to fire off some general rules that I go by when I'm buying online. 1, if the price is too good to be true, it probably is. I've made this mistake countless times where I see a really good price on eBay for a card and the auction is ticking down to seconds and I impulsively add a bid, and then I look at it after and I'm like, yeah, this is so obviously fake, but that impulse kicks in. Make sure that you're making smart decisions when you're purchasing the cards. You can always reach out to the seller. If the seller's selling a legitimate card, they're going to be more than happy to talk to you, send you extra pictures, answer any of your questions. If the seller's hesitant to talk to you or won't send you more stuff, steer clear. Look out for words like proxy, fan made, remade, and reprint. A lot of listings online will sneak those in, so they're technically telling you it's fake, but they're hiding that it's fake. All of those words mean that it is not a legitimate card. And lastly, if you're buying on eBay, make sure you're looking at the seller ratings and reviews for the past sales. If it's a new seller, I would be really hesitant to buy the card. All right, now here are the 2 cards. Which one's real or fake? If you guess this one, you learned something. If you guess this one, then you need to subscribe and watch our next video. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this. I really hope that you got some value out of it. Buying cards online can be really sketchy. There's a lot of scams. So if you have any questions ever about a card you're buying, feel free to go on my Instagram and DM me it, and I'll be happy to look at it and see if we can make a distinguishment. And don't forget to check out some of our other videos and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.